Ever notice how the friends you could call at 2 a.m. keep getting fewer? Here's something most people don't realize. After 40, your brain actually changes how it processes friendship. And understanding this shift might be the key to keeping the connections that matter most. A Dutch study following people for 7 years found that we lose about half our close friends every 7 years, and the pattern accelerates in midlife. But here's what's fascinating. It's not just about being busy or life getting complicated. Your brain is literally rewiring itself based on decades of social experience, and it's changing what you need from friendships and how you show up in them. You've developed what psychologists call social selectivity, and it's actually healthy. By your 40s, your brain has logged thousands of social interactions. Research from Stanford Center on Longevity shows that older adults naturally prioritize meaningful relationships over large social networks. You're not being picky, you're being efficient. But here's the catch. While you're carefully choosing quality over quantity, potential friends might interpret your selectivity as disinterest. You've learned to protect your energy, but sometimes that protection becomes a wall. Small shift that helps? When you meet someone interesting, mention one specific thing you genuinely like to discuss further. I'd love to hear more about that project you mentioned. Creates an opening without overcommitting. You've mastered self-reliance, and it's quietly pushing people away. Here's something remarkable. A University of Michigan study found that people in their 40s and 50s report the highest levels of emotional self-regulation. You've weathered storms, handled crises, and learned to steady your own ship. That's genuine strength. But friendships aren't just about needing people. They're about letting people feel needed. When you never ask for advice, never share struggles, never admit you're overwhelmed, friends don't know how to fit into your life. I learned this the hard way. A close friend once told me, "You're so capable, I figured you didn't need anyone." That hit hard. I wasn't trying to be distant. I was just trying not to burden anyone. Small shift that helps. Share the messy middle of something you're dealing with, not just the polished outcome. I'm wrestling with this decision invites connection in a way I handled it never can. Your BS detector is finely tuned, maybe too finely. By midlife, you've encountered enough phoniness to spot it instantly. Forced enthusiasm, performative friendship, surface-level chit-chat. You can smell it a mile away. Researchers call this crystallized social intelligence, built from years of experience. The downside? You might be filtering out people who are just nervous or trying to connect in the only way they know how. Not everyone who starts with small talk is shallow. Sometimes they're just warming up. Plus, here's an uncomfortable truth. What you see as authenticity, others might experience as intensity. Not everyone is ready for deep conversation at a backyard barbecue. Small shift that helps? Give people 3 interactions before deciding they're not your people. Sometimes real connection needs time to emerge from awkward beginnings. You're running different calculations about time and energy. A Harvard study on midlife relationships found something striking. People over 40 weigh the return on investment of social time differently. With aging parents, demanding careers, kids or stepkids, health considerations, you're managing a lot. Every social commitment gets weighed against real costs. This isn't selfishness, it's reality. But when you frequently decline invitations or leave events early, people stop inviting you. They're not being petty, they're just reading your signals. Small shift that helps. When you can't commit to something big, offer something smaller. I can't make the whole dinner party, but I'd love to grab coffee next week. Shows you value the person, even when you can't give them hours.
You assume people know you care, but they can't read your mind. Here's a fascinating thing about aging. While emotional regulation improves, emotional expression often becomes more restrained. You might feel deep affection for someone, but show it through practical actions, remembering their kids' names, sending a relevant article, showing up when they move. The problem? Research shows that after 40, people especially need explicit emotional validation. A study in psychology and aging found that feeling valued becomes increasingly important for well-being in midlife and beyond. Being dependable is wonderful, but it's not the same as making someone feel cherished. Small shift that helps. Say the obvious thing out loud. I really value our friendship, or that conversation meant a lot to me. It feels vulnerable, but it lands.
Here's what nobody tells you about midlife friendships. They require different skills than the friendships of your 20s and 30s. You can't rely on proximity or shared schedules anymore. Intentionality becomes everything. You're not losing your ability to connect. You're navigating a different life stage with patterns developed over decades. Some of those patterns serve you well. Others might need updating. The friends who stick around now, they're the ones who see you clearly and choose you anyway. That's a different kind of connection. Harder to build, but built to last.
The good news? Understanding how your brain and experience have shaped your social patterns gives you real power. You can honor your need for authenticity and depth while making small adjustments that keep doors open. You don't need to become someone you're not. You don't need to say yes to everything or pretend small talk thrills you. But knowing where your patterns might be creating distance, that's the insight that makes all the difference. Real friendship after 40 isn't about having dozens of connections. It's about keeping the meaningful ones alive while staying open to new ones that matter. If you found this helpful, subscribe to Psychloop. We explore the psychology of real life, not the Instagram version, how minds actually work, how relationships actually function, and how to navigate it all with more clarity and less confusion.
That's the loop of the mind, and you just got Psychlooped. See you in the next one.